They dressed her in lavender, laying her in a white coffin. The doctors had said there was nothing more they could do. The daughter of the millionaire was gone. But just as the funeral began, a poor boy pushed his way forward. The maid's son, mocked and dismissed, was told to show respect for the dead, until his voice broke through the silence. "She's not gone." What happened next halted the funeral and sent the mother into a fit of agony, her screams cutting through the grief-filled air. Before we dive in, let us know in the comments, what time is it and where are you watching from? Also, don't forget to strike that like and subscribe button. Let's begin. "Don't get any closer," one of the suited men growled, roughly pushing the boy back. "This isn't your place." The boy, no older than 9, stood his ground. His fists were clenched tightly, his faded blue overalls hanging loosely, the black shirt underneath barely visible. His curly hair was a tangled mess, but his dark eyes? They burned, not with fear, but with pain. "She was my friend," he said quietly. The sight of the small white coffin felt like a cruel joke to him. Inside, the millionaire's only daughter lay in her lavender gown, a single white flower on her chest. Her hands were neatly folded, her face eerily still. She hadn't been sick for long. The night before, she had suddenly collapsed, feverish. By morning, she was gone, no cure, no hope. The funeral had been rushed, swallowed by grief. But to the boy, she was more than just a distant, sheltered princess. She was his closest friend. He remembered the sound of her laughter, her stubborn nature. She wasn't the perfect, untouchable heir of a mansion. She was the girl who had sneaked into the kitchen, stealing cookies and running barefoot across the cold marble floor. She would pull him outside, even when her mother, the maid, scolded him for bothering the young lady. "You're not bothering me," the girl would insist, glaring at anyone who disagreed. "He's my friend." And now, she lay motionless. The boy's throat tightened. He moved closer to the coffin. "Why didn't you wait for me?" he whispered, leaning in. "You promised we'd climb the big tree this summer. Remember when you said you weren't scared anymore?" "Step back," a man barked, his voice sharp. His polished shoes scraped the gravel as he advanced. "This is not your place. You're just the maid's son. Show some respect." The boy's lip quivered, but his voice grew stronger. "She was my friend. She talked to me when nobody else did. She hated being alone in that big house." His words trembled, his chest rising and falling with every breath. The mother, in her tight black suit, her hair pulled back in a severe bun, lifted her tear-streaked face from the coffin. But the grief in her eyes soon turned to fury. "Do you think this is the time for stories?" she spat. "My daughter is dead, child. Dead." Her voice cracked on the word. "Don't stand here pretending you knew her better than I did." "I'm not pretending." The boy's voice broke into a shout, shattering the silence. He reached forward, his fingers brushing against her temple, and then he froze. "Heat," he whispered, his breath catching. "Not ice. Not like when my grandmother died, she's warm." His heart pounded as he spun toward the mother. "She's not gone." A wave of shocked whispers rippled through the crowd. The mother's face twisted, fury clashing with the faintest spark of hope. "Don't you dare play with me like that," she hissed. "Don't give me false hope." I held her when she stopped breathing. I heard the monitors flatline. The doctors, her voice cracked, giving way to uncontrollable sobs. The boy shook his head, his eyes wide with panic. The doctors were wrong. "Please feel for yourself." He grabbed her hand and pulled it toward the girl's chest, desperate. A suited man stepped forward, seething. "This is outrageous," he spat. "He's ruining the funeral." "Disrespectful little brat," another muttered, pushing forward. "Remove him." But the boy's grip tightened, his tiny fingers digging into the mother's hand. "Please," his voice quivered, raw with desperation. "She's not cold. Look at her chest. It's moving. I swear it." The mother yanked her hand back, trembling, chest heaving with uneven breaths. She stared down at her daughter's serene face, yet something wasn't right. The boy's eyes, filled with a raw, unrelenting fear, stopped her from brushing him off. Her hand hovered over her daughter's forehead, trembling. The boy sobbed openly, his voice breaking. "Please, ma'am, don't bury her if I'm right. Don't put her in the ground without knowing." The room erupted in whispers, some scoffing, others muttering disbelief, calling it nothing but the boy's imagination. Curiosity gripped the crowd, pulling them forward, even as their grief lingered. The priest's prayer faltered, his voice weakening into silence. The mother's lips trembled, a desperate urge to scream at the boy, to push him away, to shield herself from yet another heartbreak. But her hand, shaking uncontrollably, finally dropped, her fingertips brushing her daughter's skin. The boy held his breath, and in that suffocating moment, the funeral, meant to mark the end of everything, hung suspended on the edge of something unimaginable. The mother's hand rested on her daughter's forehead. She froze. Her skin wasn't cold. It was warm, barely but unmistakably. Her chest gave a tiny, fragile rise. For a moment, the mother thought she had imagined it. She yanked her hand back, her breath catching, her chest tight. She's not cold," she whispered, her voice cracking. The mourners erupted in disbelief. "That's impossible," one man barked. The doctors pronounced her dead. Another argued, "She's alive. My God, she's alive." A woman gasped in shock. The priest took a hesitant step forward, his voice shaky. This must be checked." "No," the mother cried, clutching her daughter's hand tightly. Her tears soaked the lavender dress. "Don't take her away from me again." The boy leaned over the coffin, his small hands gripping the edge. "I told you," he whispered fiercely. "She's breathing. Look closer." Everyone crowded in, disbelief battling the growing truth unfolding before their eyes. The girl's lips quivered, her eyelids fluttering just slightly, and the impossible seemed to shift toward reality. The mother nearly crumpled, her forehead pressing against her daughter's hand. But the doctor," she choked out, her voice breaking. One of the family's physicians, who had been standing among the mourners, stepped forward, his voice cold and defensive. She was gone. Her pulse wasn't detectable. Her breathing stopped. It was a phenomenon called suspended animation. Her body shut down, everything slowing until it appeared as if she had died. "We thought," his words faltered under the weight of the stairs. "We thought there was no chance of recovery." "You thought wrong," the maid's son retorted sharply, his voice trembling with emotion. He turned back to the girl, his small body shaking. "Come on, wake up. You promised you wouldn't leave me." Then, in the heavy silence that followed, a faint sound broke through the air, a weak, cracked whisper. "Eli." The boy's head snapped up, his eyes wide with disbelief. She said my name." His heart pounded as he leaned closer. "I'm here. I'm right here." The girl's lips parted again, barely, but unmistakably real. "I knew you'd come." Her eyes fluttered open, still clouded, but alive. The mother gasped so sharply that it stopped the room. "My baby." Her hands trembled as she cupped her daughter's cheeks, tears streaming down her face. "Sweetheart, can you hear me?" The girl blinked slowly, her tiny fingers twitching in the boy's hand before they slipped into her mother's. Her voice, weak as a whisper, trembled. "Mommy." The mother collapsed forward, sobbing uncontrollably, clutching her daughter's fragile body as if she could never let go again. "Oh, God. Oh, thank you. She's alive. She's alive." Her cries shattered the stillness, raw and unfiltered, shaking the very air around them. The chaos in the crowd was deafening. Some were crying, others shouting, still more in denial of what they had just witnessed. But nothing mattered except the three standing by the coffin: the boy, the girl, the mother. The boy's chest rose and fell with relief. "I told them," he whispered, his voice cracking. "I told them you weren't gone." The girl managed the smallest of smiles, her lips quivering. "You always believed in me." The mother, tears streaming down her face, gazed at him, her heart full of gratitude. "If you hadn't spoken up, if you hadn't stopped us," her words faltered, and she pulled both her daughter and the boy into a desperate, tight embrace. The physician stammered, his face flushed with shame. "She had no pulse, no breath. It's medical but rare. I don't know how she came back." But the mother wasn't listening. Her daughter's chest now rose and fell in a fragile but steady rhythm. The mother kissed her forehead repeatedly, whispering prayers of thanks. And the boy stood there, tears flowing freely, his heart racing. He had faced their anger, their dismissal, their disbelief. But in the end, it was him, the maid's son, who had saved her. He had seen what no one else had dared to see. The girl's small voice trembled again, her eyes closing in exhausted peace. "Don't leave me, Eli." He squeezed her hand, whispering fiercely, "Never." In that broken, sacred moment, the family realized the truth. Their daughter had been saved not by wealth, not by doctors, but by the courage of a poor boy who refused to let her slip away. If this story moved you, don't scroll past. Like this video to honor the courage of children who see what others ignore. Share your thoughts in the comments. Would you have believed the boy or trusted the doctors? And hit subscribe for more powerful, life-changing stories.